All right. Well, welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to this joint webinar between ngena and Alkira. My name is David Klebanov. I head product marketing for Alkira. And today we're going to talk about networking. We're going to talk about an exciting solution that brings two companies together, gives an end-to-end networking experience across remote sites, remote users, and now integrates full-featured cloud networking capabilities and cloud security capabilities. So we have two distinguished guests with us today, Marcus and Atif. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves before we start. So Marcus, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, thank you, David. Thanks a lot for the nice introduction. So I'm Marcus Hacke. I'm founder and CTO of ngena. After more or less working more than a decade at a large service provider and holding several managerial positions there, I came up with the idea of developing the concept of ngena. It was in very early 2015. And it was meant to help customers on their migration towards the digitized business models and towards the cloud. Now, we have chosen Cisco as one of our key technology partners in delivering SD-WAN and a lot of further services. And I was very happy to meet Atif very soon afterwards in 2017 as Cisco decided to really use the Viptela technology. He was very crucial in developing, in making it part of their core portfolio. And our current platform is, of course, still built on the Cisco SD-WAN, which originally is Viptela technology. So I'm very happy to now have the opportunity to work with Atif and the team again, and in joining forces with the connectivity cloud and the networking cloud. And we are happy to talk about this today.
All right. Yeah, happy to work with you again.
Yeah, thanks, David, and thanks, Marcus, for the kind words. I'm Atif Khan, and I'm a CTO and co-founder of Alkira, which is a multi-cloud networking company, which we started in 2018. I come from, I was prior to Alkira, I was a founding team member at Viptela, which was the SD-WAN company, which was acquired by Cisco in 2017. And right after the acquisition of Viptela by Cisco, as Marcus said, I had the opportunity to work with ngena. And now we are looking forward to partnering with ngena and coming to the market with a joint solution, which is providing end-to-end networking as a service. And we'll go into more details in this webinar today.
All right, great. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. Definitely good to work with you together, Marcus, again. So with that, I think we can kick it off, and I'll pass it on to Marcus to get us through the story. All right, Marcus, take us away.
Absolutely, happy to do so. So let me start with just having a short look backwards, right? Why both companies are so keen in delivering cloud native services as a service business model. And this is all driven by customer demand, right? And if you look back, the time where an enterprise network was a rather easy or had a rather easy architecture, where you had all the different customer locations being connected via an MPLS network, and this MPLS network, of course, was also connected to data centers, to either being data centers being operated by the business customers themselves, or by service providers. And from that data centers, you had the breakout to the internet, right? And from a security point of view, you was good enough, more or less, to have the perimeter security and to protect your network at the respective edges against the threats. Now, world has changed dramatically since then, right? Because IT architectures are much more diverse now. Many of the business applications are running on public and private cloud platforms. Many people work from outside the company. Also, partners have been included into business processes and so on. So there is not anymore this well-defined enterprise network, and it's very hard to define what is really the edge of the network. With all that changes, and especially the more and more importance of the cloud, I think there are a huge bunch of new challenges coming up for the network design, security design, and of course also connecting all these cloud instances, right? So security needs to be reviewed very much also to cope with the big crisis we all have seen over the last 1.5 years, like COVID, where we within a short period of time need to connect millions of workers working now from home and integrate it into enterprise networks. This all calls for new architecture and for a much more platform-oriented and as-a-service delivery models. And that is exactly what ngena and Alkira both are doing. They are delivering leading-edge services in connectivity and connecting to the cloud in a way that it is end-to-end managed, that it is highly automated, but it is abstracted in a way that it is easy for the business customers to consume, right? And as nearly all the business models of business customers nowadays are international, many of them even global, of course, these platforms needs to have a global reach and needs to have the capability to connect all the different customer sites, branch offices, sales offices, as well as production sites, but also all the partners and people working from home. So it needs to have a true global approach here, right? And all that is done because we want to help the business customers on their journey, because nearly all of them are on that journey towards these new digitized business models. And they need this kind of support. And having said that, let us have a little bit deeper look into what ngena and Alkira are really doing and what is I would say, the service area both of the platforms are covering. So ngena is meant to very much simplify networking in leveraging the SD-WAN technology. But it's not just the technology, it is really the implementation of that technology and running a global platform which has well-defined services which you can order from a global service catalog. So you really can consume this networking services like you consume other cloud services nowadays in IT in a lot of other platforms as well. It's a lot about integration and modernization because it combines hardware, software, the licensing, it combines the underlay and the overlay. It's all is needed if you really want to make it easy for the customer to consume it and to use it as you would use any other cloud service. And it is not just the SD-WAN, it also includes many security services. So the design itself, it's very much compliant with what is nowadays called SASE, the secure access, secure edge architecture, which is nowadays, I would say, the most modern architecture you could find in our industry. And in its heart, it's a Cisco technology. It's very much Cisco Viptela technology, but also we are supporting Meraki. And it comes also as a hybrid deployment, meaning combining both technologies. And it comes also with a different opportunities or capabilities on the connectivity or for connectivity with private and public links as well. Now, there is one topic which is very important, which needs to be added to all networks and to all that connectivity services that is reaching out to the cloud and making it easy how to do this and how to make cloud services an integral part of every network. And I think, Atif, that is exactly what you and your company are doing.
Absolutely, Marcus. And ngena and Alkira's vision is very aligned, as both of the companies are offering this as a service consumption model. So I'll just add a little bit to what you have already said, Marcus. Cloud basically allows customers to move very quickly when it comes to applications. And now we see that we need a network to move at the same speed. And we see that our customers they cannot afford to wait for months and months for the networks to be built just to enable all those cloud applications. Alkira here, we provide a global network infrastructure as a service for networking in the cloud era. It's a global platform, and it's on demand. It can be brought up pretty much anywhere on the globe for cloud connectivity. And there are three aspects to it: connectivity, then built-in services, which include security and network services, and then the third is end-to-end visibility, governance, and day-to operations. So with ngena and Alkira together, we provide one workflow to provision end-to-end network, including the cloud part of it. So we are very excited to see both solutions coming together and bringing all this as a service benefit to the customers. So yeah, so ngena and Alkira together, we think that we bring a very unique offering to the market. And it's a unique partnership which provides best-in-class SD-WAN and SaaS as a service from ngena, and it's now combined with the market-leading cloud networking from Alkira. We are enabling enterprise customers to deliver connectivity as a service to all sites, all employees, resources, and across all clouds. It also comes built in with next-gen capabilities, which are delivered via a suite of flexible and scalable services that enable the adoption of modern network architectures with access to rich multi-cloud capabilities. So some of the transformational benefits here include ngena's end-to-end platform, which unifies, as you see over here, hardware, software, licenses, access connection, security, quality of service, routing protocols, and more as a singular service. So here the key is singular service. Whereas Alkira brings simplified networking for the cloud era with dedicated, always-on global network infrastructure as a service platform built on best-in-class technology. So ngena and Alkira solutions together, we provide full visibility, advanced controls, governance for on-premise, public, private, and hybrid cloud environments.
Absolutely, Atif. And if I would summarize it, you would say we both together, both platforms together, we are really focusing on flexibility to deliver flexible services, meeting customer demands, simplifying it from a usage perspective, allowing full visibility and observability of the services so that all customers exactly know what's going on. And of course, to do that at the highest security level, which we can do, right? I think this is what is really driving us. And flexibility, simplification, all together comes with automation, but also delivering visibility and security to customers is very much at our heart, right?
Absolutely. And, end-to-end common workflows, because now if you look at different technologies coming together, like you have SD-WAN, then you have each cloud, which is different when it comes to networking construct. So having this end-to-end as a service model with common workflows to provision end-to-end service, it's hugely beneficial for the customers. And we see a lot of traction, both from the ngena's perspective as well as Alkira's perspective in the market when it comes to this as a service delivery model.
Absolutely. And now I'm happy to explain a little bit more in detail how the ngena platform really works and what is more or less inside of the ngena box, right? So what we are finally delivering to business customers, as I already mentioned, is modern networking. It's SD-WAN and security based on the SaaS architecture. From a business model, we are very much a partner-driven business model. We have a very much partner-driven business model. So it is roughly nowadays more than 50 partners we have globally, service providers, system integrators, and distributors serving their customers and leveraging the capabilities of the ngena platform to deliver this kind of services, which are all based on Cisco technology. Now, the simplification is very much reflected in the three-step approach we have developed to make it easy for our partners to select and to deliver the services to their customers. There's the 3 steps of select, enhance, and deploy. Select means it's a portal-driven, global catalog-driven approach, which makes it very simple to select predefined services and service bundles. There's a rather huge capability of being configured to these specific needs. They allow to connect very small sites like home offices or small office sites, but also have a capability to connect very complex headquarters sites or even data centers, right? And all this is as a service selectable on a global service catalog. After this is done and you have designed the network according to the requirements and the different sites you want to connect, there is the option of the enhancement. Enhancement means to add all the service descriptions which are needed to set up a network, right? Also, this one can be done from a central portal. And you do not need to understand anything about the technology itself, because we are just asking for the service description. And then there is what we call orchestration approach, or multi-layer service orchestration, which then translates the service intents fully automatically in the configurations of all the elements needed on that platform, which are virtualized functions on the global platform, as well as the CPEs, meaning the routers run at the customer site. So after you did that enhancement, and the enhancement allows you to do all that from a central portal for all the global instances and for all the global deployments, then the deployment itself is just a click, because the data model driven approach and the end-to-end automation will then ensure that all the needed instances will be ramped up on the cloud platform which we have built, as well as configuring all the devices being at the endpoint of the network itself. As we are doing networking and connectivity as a service, of course, it is not just the deployment and configuration. We also care about, if requested, the delivering of the lines, the connecting lines, as well as the on-site installation. We also support bring your own network. So there's a high flexibility in how you can use the services and set up the network. We take care from an end-to-end perspective that everything is up and running and can be consumed in an as-a-service OpEx-oriented model. And it is our huge set of alliance partners which will serve the business customers with all the interactions, the sales, the consulting, and the detailed solution design, which then lead to the configuration on the ngena platform itself. That is a way how this simple 3-step approach, select, enhance, and deploy, is working. Now, how does the platform really look like? You see at the lower part of the slide, the more or less implementation. All the dots represent the data centers where we run our platform, and you see that all these data centers are connected via a meshed privately managed backbone. And in all the data centers, you have the platform which is providing the respective services. How does it really work? Now, I just give you a very simple example. If you want to connect a site in New York, then we would ensure that there is a connecting line from that site in New York to our data center in Ashburn. You connect to the platform itself. If you then want to talk to another site, you may have a site in Melbourne. The traffic will be routed on our private backbone. Even if the connecting line is a public internet link, we will use our private backbone to ensure high quality of service to route the traffic to the Sydney data center, and then we may have a private link from the Sydney data center to the office in Melbourne, where we then have the end-to-end connection. And of course, as we run an SD-WAN, you have all the capabilities of an overlay architecture of the SD-WAN with best path routing, with giving the right priorities to specific applications to ensure quality of service, to have the end-to-end encryption and so everything what the SD-WAN technology itself is delivering. Now, at the upper part of that slide, you see it more or less what I just tried to explain in a little bit different way of description, because it is a way how you could put into the SaaS architecture, right? It's on the left-hand side, the endpoint from a customer network. It could be a thin client, which then is connected via a private or a public link, meaning if I talk about a public internet link, just also to explain that one, it could be a real broadband link. It could be business internet, but of course, we are also supporting all kinds of mobile connectivity, 4G, 5G, and also satellite. So there's a broad range of different internet connections which you can choose, or also, of course, the private links based on the Ethernet or MPLS, right? The ngena data centers, we call them ngena hubs, will exactly act as at edge instances where we run also additional security appliances and provide additional security services. We also connect to existing security clouds like Umbrella or Zscaler. So there's a true edge-based security enhancement of the end-to-end SD-WAN, which makes up for the SaaS architecture. And what is very important, of course, in that overall concept, it is centrally controlled. It is completely policy-driven. So with a single change on that central control layer, you can change more or less the policies and the behavior of the network or the security settings. And you just not do that only during the initial deployment, but also for all the in-life management and for the changes. And providing full visibility means that there are monitors, that there is the capability of getting a full transparency on the state of the network, on the performance of the network, and we also provide full transparency and integration of all kinds of assurance systems. That is the way how we have set the platform itself and how the architecture works at a high level from an end-to-end perspective. And now, Atif, I think it's up to you to explain how does this link or fit into the network cloud, which is describing the connecting part towards the cloud itself.
Yeah, absolutely, Marcus. But before I get into the details of the Alkira solution, for the interest of our listeners, I'll just say a few words about our experience with ngena, working with ngena. So when back in 2017, when we started working with ngena, in the process of integrating Viptela's Cisco SD-WAN into the platform, we found that this is such a powerful architecture because we were so focused on building SD-WAN back in the day from the Viptela perspective. And once we started working with ngena, we realized that there was a need for a service which simplified the end-to-end consumption of SD-WAN networks. You know, SD-WAN, even though if you're as a customer, if you're deploying it on your own, it can become pretty daunting pretty quickly. And with this platform, it just takes all that complexity out of the customer's hands and delivers it as a service. So, and when we started Alkira, our vision was to simplify end-to-end networking from the cloud perspective, and bring that simplicity to our customers when it came to clouds. As I mentioned earlier, each cloud is very different when it comes to networking constructs. If you have an enterprise that's in AWS, they need to extend their, let's say, enterprise network into AWS. AWS has its own constructs, networking constructs. So you have to understand each of those constructs separately. And now if you have a global cloud network, then you have to make sure that you provide connectivity between different regions. You take care of all the routing aspects of it between regions. As Marcus was mentioning, all the security requirements. How do you bring in all the security aspects into this cloud networking part? So from Alkira's perspective, we started building a platform to simplify all of that stuff and bring all of this together. So here in this diagram, what you see is Alkira's network cloud, which provides a global unified network with built-in network and security services when it comes to cloud consumption or connecting to the clouds. It is delivered, as I mentioned, as a service, and it's consumed just like any other SaaS application. It comprises of these cloud exchange points, which you see on this diagram. These are the hexagons which you see, and these can be brought up on demand anywhere on the globe. Each CXP provides connectivity to and from any cloud, any on-prem location, and any remote user. There is also a high-speed, low/predictable latency, fully meshed connectivity between these CXPs as well. So you could have any cloud connected to any of these CXPs, and you could have any user coming into these CXPs or any of these CXPs, and there would be full connectivity from any user to any cloud. And now with the combination of Alkira and ngena, ngena provides end-to-end SD-WAN as a service, and Alkira provides all of this cloud services exchange, which allows extension of the SD-WAN seamlessly into different clouds in different regions with a single workflow. So these cloud exchange points over here also provide built-in services platform where customers can enable third-party security or network services here as well. So within the cloud, if there's a need for a customer to instantiate, let's say a third-party firewall, there is a built-in marketplace which Alkira provides, which supports different firewall vendors. There are different other services from other vendors as well. And with the click of a button, customers can instantiate the instances of those services. And then there's a policy and management layer, which is built on top with full end-to-end visibility, governance, and troubleshooting built in. And as Marcus was mentioning that, it's one thing building the networks, it's another thing running the networks. So when you have an end-to-end network, it's very, very important for customers to have full end-to-end visibility and all the troubleshooting tools available to them in order to make sure that they're able to troubleshoot and run the networks for successful day two operations. And last but not least, now all of this can be driven as infrastructure as code and can be managed with Terraform as well. So that's also a very key aspect of this end-to-end service which we bring to the market. So this diagram shows the topology integration between the two solutions. As I was mentioning, we provide a common end-to-end workflow to provision an end-to-end service that includes SD-WAN / SASE network that fully integrates with Alkira's CSX or Cloud Services Exchange, creating a single architecture across all clouds with consistent policy and segmentation. So one thing to note here is that SD-WAN, which is delivered as a service by ngena, it provides end-to-end segmentation. It has built-in end-to-end segmentation. And Alkira's Cloud Services Exchange extends that segmentation all the way into the cloud. So now, from a customer's perspective, you have full end-to-end segmentation all the way from your on-premise locations, whether those are campuses, data centers, or remote sites, or even remote users coming in, all the way to the cloud. You can have different segments. Then we provide services such as inter-segment routing as well, where different resources in different segments can communicate with resources from other segments. With this, we see that for the first time, customers can enable an end-to-end network with a single workflow. It is global and can be brought up on demand anywhere on the globe. So having a global footprint is very, very important for global enterprises. So that's one of the aspects of this joint solution. It provides full end-to-end visibility, as I was mentioning, with full day-to operations capabilities, which include comprehensive troubleshooting tools.
Yeah, I think that's really it, Atif, and it's all about the selecting the services in a very flexible manner to really have the capability to cover many of the very specific customer requirements and requests, to do that without adding complexity, because we have simplified it on both platforms. We make it accessible via product catalog, and we make it very easy for any kind of deployment because of the end-to-end automation, which is part of both platforms. And then last but not least, the consumption model in an as-a-service includes not just the ordering and the deployment, but also the operations of the platform and delivering of the services for the whole time it is consumed and ordered by the customers, right? So that's it, what we do. And we do this from an end-to-end perspective with regards to connectivity. Therefore, it's a connectivity platform as a service, which meets the cloud network, which allows to reach out to any cloud which you currently find here in all the different business models. And I think it's now time to say thank you to the audience. And I think, David, we just have a third part of the talk today, right?
Right. All right. Well, thank you very, very much for the insightful presentation. I want to point everybody's attention to this two URLs that you see on the screen on the ngena.net/SD-WAN and alkira.com/ngena-solutions. You can go to these URLs to find more information. You can also find the recording of this webinar later on in this URLs. So with that, I think we have maybe a couple of minutes. I'm gonna end the slides here. All right. Well, nice to see you guys again. So I think we have a couple of minutes to address a few questions that came in through the chat, and thank you everybody for submitting the questions. If we don't get to your question, we will definitely follow up with you after this webinar to get you a comprehensive answer. But just a couple of things that came through. Some of them are a little bit more kind of a high level. Some of them are a little bit more technical. So I'll just pick a few here. So the first one is, and I think Marcus, you talked about SASE quite extensively, right? In a SASE framework, and how you guys at ngena view SASE in conjunction with SD-WAN. So just maybe share a couple of thoughts. Where do you see SASE going in the future, and what kind of transformational advantages SASE gives to your customers?
Yeah, I think what is really driving the SASE value proposition and framework is very much that you can't talk about a modern network without talking about network security. And the reason is that the securing a network nowadays is such it's much more complicated, put it this way, much more complicated than it was in the past, as I tried to explain in the beginning, because the network has so many different edges, right? And you can't simply put a firewall at the edge and then protect with a perimeter security your network against all that cyber threats which are out there in the market, right? The second one, of course, is that the attack interface has increased very much because the public internet has become an integral part of any kind of business network, enterprise networks. So the SASE framework, what it really describes is how you integrate that security functions into the network design. And that you also need to make it part of your central control layer, because you need to manage the security policies in a very similar way how you manage your network policies, because they need to go hand in hand. So managed by central policies, to have a bunch of different VNFs which are providing different security features, like next generation firewalling, like web security. Then we talk about zero trust networking. You talk about the security access broker services and things like that. So all that are different means how you need to protect that, but it needs to be delivered on the more or less in the same manner with integrated policies on an integrated platform, because you, as I already mentioned, you can't anymore differentiate between the network itself and securing the network.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, we talked today about two platforms coming together, merging together, the ngena platform and the Alkira's platform, and obviously there are security capabilities in either one of these platforms. And you spoke at length about the SASE capabilities of the ngena platform. I think Atif talked at length about the network services marketplace that is integrated into the Alkira's cloud services exchange. So definitely the idea of I'd like to call this a disappearing perimeter, because once you start considering modern networks, there's really no identifiable perimeter anymore. And with distribution of applications, users, workloads, whatnot, definitely the idea of a single choke point for security policy enforcement becomes irrelevant, right? So I fully agree to your point. One more question. I think that one is for you, Atif. In the slide that showed the joint topology between the two solutions, you mentioned an SD-WAN VNF that gets instantiated inside the Alkira Cloud Exchange Point. You guys also talked about the simplicity of this end-to-end delivery model. So can you talk a little bit, not at full length, but touch on what does it take to onboard this SD-WAN fabric into the Alkira platform, specifically when you're doing this in a distributed manner, just like Marcus mentioned, is that ngena's platform has presence all over the world, which means the intersection points between the ngena platform and the Alkira platform are multiple, and it's not just one centralized intersection point. So how does that SD-WAN VNF come together in this Alkira Cloud Exchange Point in a distributed manner across the globe?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question, David. SD-WAN now naturally needs to extend to provide connectivity into all these different public clouds, private clouds, as well as SaaS applications. So with ngena's SD-WAN as service and Alkira's network cloud coming together, as I mentioned, we have this concept of cloud exchange points, which has a built-in platform which allows us to instantiate third-party VNFs. So Cisco SD-WAN is one of them. And within the cloud exchange points, we can instantiate the Cisco SD-WAN virtual appliance. We provide full automated workflows. It's fully integrated into our network cloud. where we bring up the virtual appliance. We manage the life cycle of the virtual appliance. So that allows the SD-WAN fabric to extend seamlessly into the cloud exchange points. So now with that, it's very seamless and fully integrated for the end customer, because now if they're utilizing SD-WAN as a service from ngena, it's seamless because there's a natural extension of that fabric into the Alkira's network cloud. And that's where we provide all the connectivity and the services, as well as the visibility and governance for the cloud side of it. So now it's not like these are two separate islands. It's one, because we built the Alkira's network cloud with that in mind, where we knew that SD-WAN is the way forward, and it's a growing market. A lot of enterprises, larger enterprises, are transitioning to SD-WAN. So that's where there's a very powerful integration which we bring to the market.
All right, that's great. All right, I think we have maybe time for one last question, and I know you guys both have touched on that, but maybe just as a last point here. Obviously, there is a lot of value that is being delivered by this joint solution between ngena and Alkira. So can you maybe touch or reiterate one more time about the value to the IT leaders and the IT organizations around the world that this joint solution delivers? I think, Marcus, you mentioned that way in the beginning of your presentation. You really kind of had this really nice snake going around and talking about the value that you guys are bringing. So can you guys both just reiterate one more time the value that the customers will get from this joint solution?
Absolutely. If I start with it, so for me, it's the following topics, at least, which I believe are top of my mind in doing so. So first of all, it's a delivery model itself, that it can be consumed in an as a service without having all the complexity of ordering, implementation, deployment, and all the hassle, right? It is easy to be consumed. It is scalable. It is flexible, because you have the catalogs where you can select the services without going into the project-oriented approach in implementation and change management. At the same time, you keep a lot of the control, because you have the observability, meaning the visibility to everything what is going on. So it is not that you don't have that transparency, you keep that transparency, right? And you get the security which you really need, because you can't just think about ordering the services. You also need to be very clear that it is delivered in a way that it is not somehow having the tech interface which may harm your business. So this comes with it, right? And then it delivers really the connection between the cloud-based IT and getting a seamless access to it via the network itself, via the cloud network, in reaching out to all the distributed cloud platforms, but at the same time giving you all the flexibility to connect all kinds of sites or even individual users, like remote users, into your enterprise networks. And this all together makes up, I believe, the huge or the great value proposition which the ngena platform, which is a connectivity platform, together with the Alkira cloud connection platform or cloud platform, can deliver.
Yeah, and I can't agree more with Marcus. And I'll just add one more thing to it, which is that now as enterprises are leveraging more and more clouds, and more applications are being delivered out of the cloud. So now there's a global nature when it comes to the cloud networks also. So there's a need for networking inside the cloud also, and not just connecting to the edge of the cloud. So that's where it becomes very powerful with ngena bringing SD-WAN all the way to the cloud network that Alkira builds, utilizing its cloud services exchange, and then taking it from there into the cloud, providing complete visibility inside the cloud, as well as building the network inside the cloud to connect multiple regions, global instances of the same or different clouds, and providing inter-cloud traffic or connectivity as well via the ngena platform. So all in all, it becomes very powerful, and as Marcus mentioned, delivering it as a service is huge, because what we see is that cloud allows customers to move so much quicker from the applications perspective, and network cannot be slower than how the customers consume the cloud. So delivering it as a service for the customers to have an option to consume it as a service, we believe that it's huge for the industry, and this has not been seen before, like two as a service companies coming together and taking it to a different level.
Great, I love it. It's a consume versus build. All right, well, I want to thank you guys today for being with us, and looking forward to this continuing partnership. Again, for all the listeners, I invite you to visit both companies' websites, ngena.net and alkira.com, to learn more. Sign up for your own demo, experience this for yourself, and see how that changes the network and security infrastructure in your organization. So thank you very much, guys, for being with us, and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, David.